Hello everybody, I am John Robbins, a men's lacrosse player here at Thiel College, sitting down with the assistant coach for the men's soccer team, Zack Walters. How are you doing today, Zack?
I'm doing well, thank you.
So starting off, you're the assistant coach now, and what is your background getting to your current position here at Teal?
I'm from Hermitage originally, so I'm from the area. I had actually looked at Teal originally, so I'm pretty familiar with it. And then I went to Westminster College. I played and coached there, and then this job popped up, and so I came here.
So can you speak on your program, what do you want to build, and how you guys have built this program so far since you've been here?
We've really, Coach Riley's done an excellent job in kind of taking it, into a place where we're competitive. Especially when I was looking here, Teal's soccer hasn't always been known as this prestigious program. We're one of the youngest programs, if not the youngest in the conference. So he did a really great job in building it into what we are now. And so for now on, what we're going to do is push for playoffs, push for more wins, and, hopefully put a little more on our track record and, make us a program that people know of.
So when someone turns on a game and watches you play, how do you want someone to describe your play?
Well, I think every coach will probably say, like, yeah, we want to look like we play pretty. You don't always want to say, like, oh, we're the team that wins everything ugly. But I think for me, I think I want my teams to always be known as intense. As long as we're dialed into the game, we have the intensity, we set the tone of the game, set the tempo of the game. If we walk off the field knowing that, we set the tone and, we did all we could, then I think, we'll usually feel better about the game, regardless of the result.
So was that intensity instilled with you when you were in your playing days, or is this just something you've always kind of believed in as a coach?
Definitely playing. My high school coach has often called me not the most skilled player he ever had, but the most intense player he ever had, which at first, for me, I was kind of like, oh, well, what are you trying to say here? But, I take it as a compliment. I think I'm a very focused person, and I hope that my teams can do that too. So if we can go into practices and we can go into sessions concentrated and, get done what we need to do, all the while enjoying it, that can translate onto the field, and we execute a game plan, then, we have results go our way.
So going back to, COVID-19, it's such, a big thing, obviously. It's hard to ignore. How have you as a coach helped change practice, and how have you been able to change the way that you go about practice in order to follow any guidelines that you need to follow?
For practices, I've had to kind of be creative in some things, switch things around, try to eliminate lines, and also like equipment usage, like pennies or cones or anything. So like one of the things we like to do is like play tic-tac-toe. Obviously I had to not play that for a while. And like I have some sources like YouTube, thank God, so I can use that to kind of get creative with some things where maybe I'm not as creative. But in terms of like, the sessions, they've still been good. The guys have adapted really well with it. I think, they've all done really well with it. And they've trained in the off season, so they work really hard. They know regardless of what's happening, then, we'll just have to adjust.
Do you think that adapting on the fly has really helped bring a value to your program?
Oh, yeah, 100%. Yeah, I think in terms of, just how they have to go about sessions, not everything's going to go according to plan. As cliched as it is, even if like, it starts raining in the second half or something like that, the guys have to adapt to it. So for them to kind of be ready to go about anything, even like practices, they may change as we get there. So for them to kind of be ready to do it, and stay concentrated the whole time, and stay, active and into it, it really speaks a lot to them.
So kind of building off of that with the type of player that you look for when you're recruiting a player. What do you look for when you go into a high school and you're looking at a soccer team? What type of player do you want from that team to come to Teal?
I think in terms of just like a player, personally I really like smart players. I like them to be composed and calm on the ball. And typically whenever you're going to a high school game, you really look for the leaders. I always tell our guys how you walk on the field, chest up, shoulders back. Chest up, shoulders back, no matter where we go. And so if I see that type of player in a high school game, obviously their technical ability, should match it. But if I see that type of person that could really help build a culture and help be a part of the program, then they're one that sticks out for me. for us, our 3 pillars are respect, accountability, and competitiveness. So if I see someone on the field that kind of outlines those, then great, they might be good for us. Main thing is, chest up, shoulders back. How do they represent themselves? I don't really want someone like cussing out the parents after they score a goal. Like finding someone that would be a good fit for us culture-wise.
Do you think that's something that is really special to Teal, that these players usually come in, they have those principles, or is that something that you like to just find in a player and you think it just meshes well with the whole Teal atmosphere?
I think a little bit of both. I think Teal as a community is really close, and I think kind of what encapsulates Teal itself, kind of builds off those pillars and basically D3 itself, and within the pack as well. But Teal, I think, is a really good model of it, and just making sure that people have that cohesion, they can fit into any kind of role, which frankly is like a little advert for liberal arts education. But that's kind of Teal in general, and I think it's easy to kind of, since we have that with Teal as a framework, to find guys that match it. But then also if guys exude that, then great, they'll fit into Teal well.
So let's broaden out a bit to the President's Athletic Conference and the rest of the pack. And where's their stance on fall athletics right now and what you can do as a coach at the current moment? And we all know that it was postponed to the spring season. And how's that looking for you? You still looking forward to a spring season?
Yeah, I think we're really just thankful that we've been able to train. We get to play conference only in the spring, which for us, we're just grateful we have games. I know all the ADs are working really hard to make sure that everything can be scheduled accordingly. And we're kind of like, we'll play whatever. 5 a.m., even though the guys may not agree with that. But, I don't care. If you give us field time at 5 a.m., we'll get out there. We just want to be able to play, and, we're glad that the PAC's been really accommodating with that. Moving us to the spring really helped. I think everyone kind of get an idea of, what we can do. And, yeah, we're really looking forward to it.
So you kind of mentioned in the past, the little things that you have to do because of COVID-19, but how are you preparing your players for that spring season right now?
I think right now it's basically just, there hasn't been a lot of focus on like the games. I'm not gonna like game prep for a game that's 6 months away. More of right now has just been, for so many of the students, like, and frankly faculty too. We were in quarantine for like a certain amount of time, and you're just like alone for like a certain amount of time and have to stay inside. Cabin fever is gonna settle in at some point. So just making sure the guys are like back together and being with each other again has been really our emphasis. And our focus is enjoying being with each other, and pushing that throughout the fall. And then once we get back to spring, we'll focus on those games. For now, just being with each other and enjoying our sessions and improving every day.
So finally, what do you think is so special about Teal? You mentioned how it's a community, but could you elaborate on that for, what is so special since you've gotten to Teal? It's made it such a great place for you to coach at.
I think acceptance, really, like, frankly, just kind of meeting everyone. Everyone kind of has a smile on their face, and they're so accepting of you, like, regardless of, background. Like, obviously I went to Westminster, so I'm like a rival school, but, even that, like, people joke around, and, I feel like everyone really has each other's backs here. It's really been lovely ever since I came in. It's hard to, I guess it's kind of hard to put into words until you feel it. So it's hard for me to say like, oh, you're really going to love it here, you're going to love it here. And then whenever people ask why, I'm like, well, you'll just have to experience it yourself. Which is why I think it's such a big part of like our recruiting is getting people on campus. Once they're on campus, they always say the same thing about, how they really feel like it's a tight-knit community and they enjoy it here. And it's kind of one of those things, like I said, hard to explain until you feel it.
Well, that's awesome to hear, Coach Walters. Thanks for sitting down with us and giving us your time. It was awesome to talk to you.
Yeah, thank you.